Hello again and welcome to the channel. My name's Annie and this is my creative detour. Today I'm jumping on to do something a little bit different. I'm going to participate in a challenge that's been going on for the month of April, and it's called ABC April 2025, hashtag at the beginning, and it's ran by Toni from Crafty by Toni and Margaret from Seven Plaza. And they started it at the beginning of April, and you do a different thing for each day of the month, and it is assigned to a letter of the alphabet. So on the 1st of April you did an A, and so on. You work your way through the month. Well, for today's I'm working on the letter T, and I'm joining in. I was wanting to join in from the start, but for those of you that are regulars, you would know that I've been away on holidays and I've been cruising. So obviously I've not been able to work and do this challenge. But I've decided to just try and do a few letters for the end of the month and see how I go, and jump in and join in. I've been watching a few of the videos while I was away, and there's some very, very talented people that are participating in the challenge. So I will link the hashtag below, and I'll also put in Margreth and Toni's link as well. So if you're interested in finding out a little bit more about the challenge, the information will be in the description below. For today, I'm going to be doing some tags. So I've done one, and I'm going to go talk a little bit about the one that I've done, and then I'm going to make one on the video and do a few different things. What I've got to do is I've got to make anything that starts with T, or put something onto anything to do with papercraft that starts with T. So what I decided to do was I set myself another challenge. I thought for the letter T, I'm going to try and get 10 things onto an item that start with T. I have made this one. First item is that it's got to be a tag, so yes. And I have made it in relation to travel. So down here I've got travel themed. And I wanted to pick something to do with trains. So I have this stamp set from Tim Holtz Stampers Anonymous, and it's called The Inspector, I think. And I love him, and I actually stamped some of him while I was on the cruise and watercolored a few different images of him. I've got one done here for the next tag as well. I wanted to do something to do with trams or railways or something like that. So I did that, so we can tick the train conductor for him. I pulled out some resources that I have now. My great aunt, who is unfortunately no longer with us, she was a big collector of important things, and I have different papers, newspapers or editorials or large magazines that were for important events. And this one here, you can see that she collected some of the annuals, and this one's called the Sydney Mail, and I'm not sure whether you can see the date on it up here, but it says the 2nd of October 1937. So I have quite a few different magazines and newspapers. I have newspapers from when the Opera House, Sydney Opera House, was opened, and when the Queen visited for that event. And I have newspapers for when the first man walked on the moon, and so on and so on. So I have quite a nice pile of different vintage or really old newspapers. And some of them are from New Zealand, some of them are from Australia, and from different states in Australia. So this one's obviously the Sydney Mail, so it's about New South Wales, but it covers travel and lots of interesting things. So I'll do a little bit of a flick through because it's got some amazing things in it. So you can see here, I was drawn to this one here where it's talking about New South Wales railways. And then you can see the advertisements here. There's Jenolan Caves, Taronga Zoo, and most of it's in black and white, but different shades of printing. Some of them are in, most of them are monochromatic, so they might be grey and white. This one here is a little bit black and a bit warmer. Might have a page that is green and white or blue and white. It's doing different spreads on different places. So here we've got Brisbane, and it shows some nice images. And this is where I pulled out, you can see I've pulled out one here. Now, I was a little bit reluctant to use them, and then I decided that my great aunt has kept these, like I said, 1937, for so long, and my mother has been looking after them for a very long time and stored them very well. Like, they're not eaten or anything like that. They're not stained. And I was talking to my husband. I said, should I be tearing them up or should I just be holding on to them? And we decided that, looking at the rest of my family that are younger than me, once I'm gone, I know that the people that I would pass these on to would probably throw them in the bin. So I may as well use them and make some interesting things out of them. So you can see that there's some great things. I'm going to be doing quite a few things out of these different resources over the next year or so. You can see here there's ones on cruising, which is great because obviously for those that are regulars, you know that I love cruising, and those that are new, I'm a cruiser. So I also pulled out one from here, you can see, and it was about train travel as well. So that's where I got the back pages from. I also pulled out a verse out of this selected verses of C.J. Dennis. Now, C.J. Dennis is a well-known Australian author or poet, and also I think he was a journalist, and he was born in the late 1800s, and I think, mid 1800s, something like that. And I picked this book up, you can see, from a charity shop for $1. It has some really interesting poems in it, and I pulled one out that is called The Tram Man, and I have stuck it in the background here of this tag. So I thought that I would read it to you. It's only short. I took a photo of it first so that I've got a record of it and that it's not going to be gone forever. And it says, The Tram Man. I'd like to be a tram man and ride about all day, calling out fares please in quite a vicious way, with pockets full of pennies, which I'd make the people pay, but in the hottest days I'd take my tram down by the bay. And when I saw the nice cool sea, I'd shout hip hip hooray. But I wouldn't be a tram man if I couldn't stop and play. Would you? So I just thought it was really fun and appropriate for this. And yeah, I thought I'd use that. So that's where I have got most of my resources from, but I will show you some other things as I go through them. So let's have a little look at the tag that I've made. I obviously used the Stampers Anonymous, the Conductor, and I watercolored it. You can see here that I've stamped a wattle in the background. Now, for those of you that are new, welcome. And for those of you that are returning, thanks for coming back. And you would know that for the returning viewers, I'm from Australia. I'm from Brisbane. And the Australian flag is red, white, and blue. And some people that are not from Australia might assume that our national colours are red, white, and blue because our flag is red, white, and blue. It's got the Union Jack on it because we're part of the Commonwealth. And then it's got stars on it for the Southern Cross that we see in our night sky. But our actual national colours are green and gold, or green and yellow. And that's because of the wattle. So our national plant, that is our, Australian plant that you see on different things, is the Australian wattle, and it's green and gold. So I decided to, because this says the Trans-Australian Railway, there were different parts of that I pulled out of the newspaper. And you can see here it's got attractive fares. On the back it says particulars from the Tourist Bureau, and does the blurb of where to find the information. So I tore those pieces up into strips and have stuck them down with the verse, the poem. So on my list here, I've got torn paper. So I'm going to tick torn paper because I managed to do that. I also, hopefully you can see it, I've put some textured paste on here with just a few different letters and numbers. So there's some texture paste going down here and down that side. And I used a stencil from Creative Happiness, and it's a stamp area stencil. So I used that. So I'm going to tick textured paste. And I also put some tickets on. So you can see I've got a ticket here as if it's been used and stapled on, and a ticket on the back, like a voucher ticket that you sometimes get when you go traveling somewhere. We got a voucher when we were on the cruise. They gave us a $25 drinks voucher, which we bought cocktails with, which was fantastic. For 25 cents back in the day, let's assume this is 1907, 25 cents might have bought you a house. I don't know, but it's possible. So I'm going to check tickets as well. And you can see also that in the background that I've put a timetable in the background behind our man here, our conductor. So these tickets and timetables, I got them from, I'm going to tick timetable before I forget. I got them from some ephemera. I went searching, thinking I'm sure I've got some tickets somewhere. And I had tickets in 49 and Market Christmas Spectacular. So I just pulled out ones that were not Christmassy and put a bit of colour onto them and made them relevant. So I've used some tickets. On the rest of my list here, I've got a transfer pass, which is what I'm going to put on to the next one. Tabs. I didn't put a tab on. So I've got tissue paper on my list as well. So I think I might try and do that on the next one. I didn't put any on this one. Typography and text, I can definitely tick that because I've got lots of text on here, and we've got the torn up paper. And I've got a Tuckspot. Now I've got to be honest, I planned this to be a Tuckspot, and for this timetable to be like only stuck down on three sides like a pocket, and I could have tucked some things in, but I forgot all about it when I was gluing it down. So I'm going to give that a cross because that was a mistake. And then lastly, I've got Twine on my list. So I'm going to tick Twine. So let's see how we went on the first tag. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, I got 9. And if I'd done the tuck spot, I would have had 10. But never mind. On the back, I've just put some, you can see I tore the paper just for journaling on, and I will probably put this in one of the travel journals that I make. It'll just go into my resources bin, and I'll put it into a journal down the track. So that's our first tag. I'm going to now clear the decks and get set up, and I'll put the next tag together with you. So I'll get ready and I'll see you soon. Okay, I've got most of my things here, and hopefully I won't forget what I'm doing in which order. I pulled out the advertisement, and it's a little bit different. The last one was advertising going on a trans-Australian journey across Australia somewhere and leaving from New South Wales or Melbourne, maybe from Victoria. This one, I really liked this image here of this train conductor because he looks very similar in uniform to the man that I've stamped and watercoloured. But this advertisement is about travel service, about what the Commonwealth Bank services can provide for you while you're traveling, and access to your savings account and all that sort of stuff. So the text is not that relevant, but the imagery is, and so I'm going to use it because I like the look of it. I'm also going to layer up, here's this transit ticket, and I also found a few other tickets out of that same set of ephemera from 49 and Market that I'm going to use. And I also in my stash found just a little piece of a label that said breakfast at 6 a.m. and it's got a bell on it. So I thought I'd use that as well. So I'm going to compile that onto the tag and then maybe do some stamping. But I think what I'm going to do first is I'm going to do the back so that I get it set. I actually have covered the back. So what I did was I tore this out. You can see that I've got a few strips of where I've had to tear it at the top. And then I've put it onto a piece of card and covered the back. And I'm just going to tear this page down a little bit. For those of you that are new and have not seen my channel before, because obviously I'm participating in something new, as I mentioned, I'm from Australia. So I started my channel late last year, and I actually didn't start it. My family has been saying to me for quite a while, oh, you should do a YouTube channel. Because I've been paper crafting I actually did paper crafting a very long time ago. I made albums and did scrapbooking for my children when they were younger. And then I actually semi-retired, or probably forced retirement early, about 8 years ago, because I lost my sight and could no longer work doing what I am qualified to do, which is I was an interior designer and I used to teach architectural studies. So I could no longer, obviously not being able to see properly, I could no longer teach. So I took a early retirement, and I gradually got my eyes improved enough for me to be able to do things, which I'm so grateful for. I'm so blessed to be able to see and do stuff. So I'm very grateful for the sight that I have. Anyway, probably about 3 years into that, so quite a few years later, because obviously my sight was not, fully recovered, I decided that I needed to do something and get a hobby. So I went looking for a hobby. Now I just pulled out some tissue paper because on the list I forgot to use tissue paper on the last one. So I'm going to use the Tim Holtz Ideology paper, collage tissue paper, and I'm going to use this little one here that is about tours, people going on a tour. So I'm pretending that they're traveling on a train trip and they're going on a tour somewhere in Australia. I'm just going to glue this tissue paper down with some mixed media rice paper glue from Stamperia. So I went searching for a hobby because I just thought I've got. I'm a little bit restricted with what I can do, but I'm able now to do more than what I was able to do. So what can I do? And it had to be something that I wasn't spending too much time in front of a computer because obviously that was problematic. So it had to be something creative. And I stumbled upon papercrafting. And that was around about 5 years ago. So I have been doing different types of papercraft, and I like doing, because I did teach architectural illustration, watercolor, perspective drawing, color rendering, you know, all that sort of thing. I'm a little bit arty. I can draw and I can paint, and I don't say that I am an artist. I wouldn't say that I'm an artist. I would say that I have the ability to do things, but I would be, I think I would be insulting the very talented people that are artists by calling myself an artist. I think that I'm definitely a crafter. I like dabbling in art. So I found myself stumbling upon paper crafting, and I really enjoy doing different things, and that's hence the name behind my channel is called My Creative Detour, because I like doing different things. I don't necessarily like doing the same thing over and over and over again. That's partly why we named the channel what we did. So back to where I was getting at about when I started my channel. My son, youngest son, he was moving overseas to work and live in Europe. And he was like, Mum, why don't you start this YouTube channel that everyone's been hassling you about to start? And I said, well, I don't know. And he said, well, why don't I just set it up for you? And then you can do whatever you want with it, you know. And, you know, it doesn't have to be a big pressure thing, just have a play, and you're always creating something. So you may as well just put the video on while you're creating, um, you know, video it. That's what I've been doing. So he set it up in October, but we didn't do anything with it until December, when just before he was leaving, he said, I need to give you a tutorial, bit of a lesson in how to film and edit. So in mid-December, he gave me 2 lessons, showed me how to use the editing program, and here we are. I think I'm 46 videos in. So I obviously am enjoying it. I actually am enjoying the creative side of videoing more than what I thought I would. Okay, I've got a few bubbles on the back of this, but I'm not going to worry about it. You can see that I've just put on the back that image of those people traveling on a tour, and it's number 77. That's the background of why I started the channel. I have found that I'm really enjoying editing, and I'm not enjoying the problems with technology, but I don't think anyone does. I am enjoying doing lots of watching of other talented people, of things that I'm working on, and I was thrilled to come across this challenge and excited about going on the cruise, but then a bit disappointed that I couldn't actually do it. Let's do a little bit of a play with what I'm going to do with this one. I think that I'm going to glue this on here I have to work a little bit methodically because I don't want to forget doing that tuck spot, because I don't want to be short again by one tick on my list. Just going to ink the edges of some of these using Distress ink, and it's Vintage Photo. I've got a little bit of a running list here of things that I've got to remember to do. My grandchildren are just yelling out hello to me through my back door. They've just come home from school and I'm videoing, so if you hear some children playing in the background, they're outside playing soccer. I think I might just run a band all the way down there. Let's do that. That was close. I almost forgot the textured paste. So much for my prompt list to remind me what to do that's sitting right next to me. Anyway, and I'm not going to overthink it. I'm not going to worry about, whether they're the right letters or numbers or anything. I'm just going to put it on. Let's do the number 5 and 1, 2, 3. And maybe the number 4 there. Okay. Oh yeah, that looks all right. Okay, I've popped that on. I've also hit it with my heat tool just to, it's not dry, but it's not sloppy. So we'll move forward. So we have some textured paste on there, which is great that I remembered that. Now, let's work out where we want to put these things. So I'm wanting to cover up some of this information down the bottom and create a tuck spot with that. So we just need to get it in the right order and the right position. I actually stamped the number 13 on that in blue. And I'm just going to pop that there, and that's going to be part of the tuck spot. Let's see if it's straight. See if it's straight. Straight would be good. Okay, we're going to glue our conductor on now and keep this tuck spot happening and keep it happening around his head. So I want to do halfway. Breakfast at 6 a.m. That's pretty early to have breakfast served to you on a train. Oh, 6 a.m. for breakfast. Not sure that I could do that. I think I'd be skipping brekkie. All right, he's looking pretty good, isn't he? I like him. And he looks very similar to his pal up there. All right, that's looking okay. I've got a few little bits of red, pops of red, to make things a bit relevant. And I liked this bit of a ticket up here as if to say, you are in carriage number 1, seat D. And this number here kind of made me think that this might be his serial number, his number for being a conductor. So I might actually put a bit of glue on that and glue that there. And I think I might put a few staples in it for a bit of texture with my tiny attacher. Nice. And one over here. Oh, that was a bit crooked, but never mind. Doesn't matter. Doesn't have to be perfect. I actually, to be honest, I only found Toni at Crafty by Toni during March Makes and Margaret from 7 Plaza. I actually found Margaret first and was interested in watching what she was doing for the March Makes, and she was talking about this person called Toni. And So I went looking for who Toni was, and she had a link in her description. And I found both of them, and I've been hooked. I've been binge watching both of them, which has been very educational and thoroughly entertaining. And I have already learnt a lot from both of them. So thank you, ladies, for your inspiration. All right, now let's see if our Tuckspot works. It does. Another one here. Oh yes, I have a Tuckspot. Now let's do a little bit of stamping. I don't want much. I think I'm getting close to the end. All right, let's put a eyelet in it and some stamping. So what are we going to stamp? I think using Stampers Anonymous, and this is the tidbits, I think I'm going to stamp package number and arrival time. Yes, let's do that. Actually, I might only fit package number on. Maybe package number should go on the back. Let's do package number on the back as if they've been given a ticket. It off, and we'll do arrival time on the front. They're having breakfast at 6 a.m. and they're arriving at 9 p.m. There we go. Now I think I might just ink the edges and vintage it up a bit. All right, I'm going to do a little bit of hole punching. On this ticket here, I stamped the calendar on it, and I'm going to actually punch a hole with my little puncher on April, as if it, well, because it's April now. And full disclosure, this is why I need a bigger mat. I dropped a little bit of texture paste on this one, and it stained it, but that's okay. It looks aged, doesn't it? Let's run with it. It looks like it's from 1937, from when the paper was made. Okay. What else do I want to do? Oh, a hole here. What color will we put on here? I'm thinking either red, black, or blue, or yellow, because we have all those colors. We don't have gold. Red one. It's usually the case with me. I love color. I love saturated color. All right. Just set that. So I'm thinking I'd like to put a star on it, but I don't have any big yellow ones left. I only have a little one. My grandchildren are having a ball out there, aren't they? Having a great time. I'm hoping that it's not coming out too much on the video. However, it is lovely hearing children play, so I think that that's okay. Let's just run with that. All right, we'll put some twine on. Do we want black, or will I get the red out? Let's try the red. Do we like the red or the black? I think the red. Let's go all in. Let's go boots and all. Let's just dive in, and it's just twine. Let's clear the decks, and we'll come back and we'll assess our tags. I won't be a moment. Okay, here we have our second tag, and let's mark off what we did. We did a tag. Here's a train conductor, and we didn't use a timetable, but we used a transit pass. We used tickets, I could have actually turned this around. There was a missed opportunity. Let's give that a big X. I could have turned this around before I cut the excess off and left it as a tab. Torn paper, yes, we tore it on the back. And we used tissue paper, and we used texture paste, and we used type, and we did do a Tuckspot, and it's travel themed, and we used twine. Let's count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Oh, so we got 11 on this one and 9 on this one, and it averages out to 10 on each. Ding, 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 ding. So there we go. There's my first ABC challenge for the letter T. We have a tag. That's the one we've just done. Hopefully it's in the view. I'll just move it up and down a little bit because sometimes it doesn't show the whole thing. And the back for journaling on down the track. And here's the one that I did earlier with a poem on it about a tram man. And there's the back of that one. There we go. Thank you very much for joining me today. I really appreciate you taking the time to watch the video. I hope you really enjoyed it. Yeah, if you liked the video, give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing to the channel to help it grow. And I'm going to attempt to do maybe another letter before the end of the month. I have a few other challenges that I'm in at the moment. I'm doing the full deck challenge as well. So I've got a few other ones on the go, but I'm going to try, but the alphabet's running out. So I'm not sure that I'm going to be able to do this many on some of the letters like Z or X, but let's see what I can come up with. All right. Thanks very much, and I hope to see you very soon. Bye for now.